your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one owes me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Serious business. There is a time for everything, and for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine, while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and I ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause you sounded so good to believe. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we'd never know yellow would have treated us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame. Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession, no employment for the ordinary man. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. All your projects are stuck in a pipeline, but when asked, how is the country going? Oh, fine. We are looking into it. Never mind. Only projects in pipeline. No water to cool down the yellow temperature. When will they start? Please answer that. Oh, soon. Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no race. 5 years is a lot of space. It's just a few hungry people in a place and a few disgruntled green people with their vexed face. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, you now refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger throughout Grenada. 1,000 Frenchmen can never be wrong, but you hold your yellow conviction strong. So why not send them advisors home? They're sucking money like water in foam. And rehire the Imanis, less stress on the economy. You are Manchester, hold up the country. You didn't see us down by the brewery when they send SSU to beat we. Trick us with campaign promises, we won't say it is, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain, So we've heard about your internal division, but some can't digest that one. Remember the man say he's an asset to the party? And will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they're cloned. And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come real good, cause it's a long time Grenada ain't eat a food. You think politicians good? Trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You remember in the Bible, God had a plan for Jonah to restore Nineveh? But who will restore Grenada? Is it the same Jonah? Lots of doubt, so I ain't running up my mouth. And I ain't counting no chicken before the hatch. Politicians sometimes form a crooked batch. After they get the vote, they now sing one note. But here comes Fort Judy and Lancer Payne, with $1 million house and brand new car on the scene, while our hungry belly's still grumbling. And you trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. So yellow people say, next election not me stain that finger, cause after we say enough from Jonah, here comes still with more pressure and hunger. And from the mouth of Grenada, only one thing I utter: the Congress neglect us, the Congress fail us. And I could never understand the distribution of the wealth. So drink your bush home if you want good health. And for real, we appreciate the free barrel, but they only come in December. So what we are do from January to November? Suck salt and drink Nawasa water. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease, that's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. By the way,
and good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, Pity Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I will be with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 11 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
For we, or give us everything free as in the days of enemy.
I must use one of my other surnames, you know. Yeah, let me use the Carriacou surname like Duncan or Lawrence and them kind of thing, you know.
Things affect us negatively. We are still blessed.
For the Grenada surnames like Williams or Levine and them kind of thing, I must use one of the other surnames.
But I know you will like this poem, for this poem is a problematic poem.
Yes, indeed, folks. Remember, Team Grenada, they're heading out there tomorrow. Yeah, so they will be in action tomorrow at the Grenada National Stadium. So make sure you take the opportunity once you can and head on out to the Grenada National Stadium.
Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm gonna get there. I'm not.
Yeah, it's Team Grenada. Yeah, so national, you know, we have to go out and support our own. So we're supposed to ram out the stadium tomorrow, right? Nice.
To leave up to mine.
Tut mun bagay. You understand? Nice.
I don't owe no one, no obligation. No one owes me none, so everything is fine, fine. I said I am that I am, I am.
And remember, you can still get your tickets for the secondary stand and the bleachers. And you could get those tickets out at Grenadian Optical down in Grand Anse. Chucky's Bar, right? Nice. Yeah, Chucky's Bar. You know the new location where Chucky's is for, the temporary location. Chucky's downstairs where Andals was in town there. He's downstairs where Andals at the agricultural shop, like you head into the back. Right, Chucky is there. So you could get your tickets for the football match at Chucky's, Licks and Bites in Guave, Shy's Bar in Victoria, Calico in Sutez, Maxie's Bar in Grenville, St. David's Pharmacy, the Grenada Football Association Secretariat in Queen's Park, and of course you could buy it online at GoToFed.
I will use no rocket science.
GFA, you can't pay for that today. Yeah, that is national duty right now.
It's fine. While I take you down a poetic line. Yeah,
so they still got the $40 secondary stand tickets and the $25 bleacher tickets. So tomorrow morning, yeah, well, you see, the thing is, if it was the new national party in power, by tomorrow morning, you, if you're a public servant, if you were a public servant, you know by tomorrow you'd be receiving your salary. Yeah, that'd be inside there and think that be looking and say, well, next week, ting. Yeah, did I try and hit you a little something on Friday? But with this government, well, we know how that is go. So those of you that can, please head on out, support Team Grenada. So our boys, let's support them, yeah?
Yellow, all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow.
I'm not sure what links will be available for those of you outside of Grenada, but definitely we need to head on out there and support Team Grenada.
Promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain. But you now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we never know yellow would have treat us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in.
Just making sure I get my bits and pieces of information together here. There's one piece that was sent to me late, so I'm just making sure I have that.
People fame, past administration, the cause of frustration.
Then I'm seeing tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow they're going to be officially opening the Mount Kumar Road. Yeah.
Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land. Economic recession.
I'm very interested. I am very interested. And someone is saying they're hearing me very low. I wonder why. Yeah, maybe you need to increase the volume on your device. And let me see if anybody else is having that issue. Now, well, that might be a U device problem. Let me see over on the, let me check over on the Facebook and see if folks over there are having a similar problem, because that's somebody on YouTube. Yeah. So tomorrow, they're officially opening the Mount Kumar Road. Yeah. The idea, New National Party. The plan, New National Party. The contractors selected everything under the funding, under the New National Party. Right? But now somebody else trying to claim it as theirs. I mean, come on. Listen, as it's the last program for the week, we're leaving the phone lines open for the entire program. So the phone lines are open. You can call at any time. 440-7377. And for those of you outside of Grenada, our good friends listening in the Grenadian diaspora, those of you out there in whether it's you're in North Carolina, you're in South Carolina, you're out there in Illinois, you're out there in California, wherever you are, we're saying a special, glorious Grenadian good night to each and every one of you. And of course, those of you in North America, let me say a special good night to Margaret out there in Canada. Is it Calgary? Yeah, out there in Alberta, yes. In Canada. I'm saying a special good night to you, Margaret. Hope that you're having a wonderful night tonight. Nice.
We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you're now refrain.
Some people are having a problem and some are not. So I think it may be based on your individual internet account. Yeah, nice.
To the party, and will we vote you without him? You left him with Glenn alone. Maybe they cloned. And
Wendy and Maguire, behave yourself.
Unity that will mislead a lot just before the next ballot. But you guys will have to come real good, cause it's a long time Grenada ain't eating food. You think politicians would trick us with campaign promises?
Yeah, so Matthew, you're hearing me loud and clear out there in Brooklyn.
We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you're now refrain.
Someone is hearing me really loud now. For some reason, in the studio itself, the audio is coming through okay here. I think let me just adjust the volume here slightly. Nice. I think that may help those of you that are having issues. I think that may assist some of you.
But here comes Fort Judy and Nansapin with million.
Yeah, so the Mount Kumar Road, the funding secured under the New National Party. Funding secured, NNP were the ones who secured the funding, who came up, conceptualized the program. So it's not something that between June the 23rd and now that this NDC administration has come up with. It is something that was contemplated, that was created, that the entire project was put together by the new National Party administration. All right? So all of this existed prior to June the 23rd. It is not an idea of the present MP for that specific area. And I'm very interested, I'm extremely interested in hearing the comments that will be made tomorrow. I am very, very interested in hearing what it is that they've got to say tomorrow in relation to that project. I want to see if they come and play like it's theirs. Because you already have one in Karaku. I see one thing. They take out 3,000, how much thousand pictures, projects and all kind of thing. Yeah? Yes, that. And I'm seriously, I am also asking that question. One of my good friends has just messaged me. They're wondering if invitations have been issued to the former MP. Yeah, that's Mr. Tobias Clement. I wonder if he has been invited. I wonder if the former Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, the former Minister of Works, that's Senator the Honorable Norland Cox. I wonder if any of them have been invited to that activity tomorrow. And I'm wondering if they'll even be acknowledged during the activity. Because again, as I said, you have one running around Karaku every minute. Yeah, that he's the one doing this and he's the one doing that and he's the one. All the roads that were already scheduled. I remember having conversations, with the former MP. That's a Sister Kindra Mathurin Stewart. I remember having conversations with the then minister in relation to that, Senator the Honorable Norland Cox. That there were several roads that were down for Karaku to be done and several projects to be done in Karaku. So those projects are rolling out. Yeah, those roads are being done. You had so many roads that were done during the period 2018 to 2022. And you had other roads that were started or that you simply had to mobilize. The contractors simply had to mobilize. In other words, they had to start the process itself, but they were already selected and so on to do these roads. And you have others that the funding, everything was secured. So it's simply a matter of you getting a contractor to do that particular road. And all of this, even the building of the Bishop's College out there in Karaku and so on, all of that was put together under the new National Party. But again, they have nothing to show for the time that they're there except the WASH program. And by the WASH program, I mean the Who Are Sending Home. Yeah? Who Are Sending Home program, the WASH program. That's the only program they have to show for the time that they've been there. That and the other WASH program that they claim is the brainchild of the Prime Minister, that we have, without any hit back, have been able to prove that it's a lie. It's not the idea of the Prime Minister. That UNESCO has a program like that. That the Red Cross, Red Crescent has a WASH program. That the Rotary Club here in Grenada, that they have had a program like that dating back several years. So that it's not a new initiative. Maybe the format of how they're going to do it is different in that they're asking the business community to give them some of this stuff and so on. Poor business community. They're asking the business community to provide them with different stuff to do that program. And they're asking people to give their labor free and so on. I don't have a problem with that, No, let me say it straight. I personally do not have a problem with them going to the business community and saying, listen, there is this poor and vulnerable person and we'd like to help them. I have no problem with that. Yeah? So they can go to the business community and they can ask for the help for the poor and vulnerable people and different things like that. But there's only so much that these business people can do. Because the same business people who had to go through the COVID period and lost significant amounts of money during that period. Yeah? It's the same business people that went through all of that. That's the same as everybody else. All of us lost things during the COVID period. Business people included. So if they want to go and ask them to assist, I have no problem with that. But it also shows a lack of initiative on their behalf, that they are unable to mobilize the funds to be able to do projects like that. Yeah? And it also shows that a lack of creativity in that they come with the same name that's being used by UNICEF and the United Nations and UNESCO and the Red Cross, Red Crescent and all of these organizations, the Rotary Club and so on. Yeah? And seeing that all of these organizations have a program like that the approach should have been to go to them and seek grants to be able to do projects like that around the island, and then to focus only in one village, in one constituency, to say that you're only going to deal with Belle Isle. No, I love the people of Belle Isle, and therefore I hope that it is successful. Let me put that on record. I hope, and I know all of you hope, that the program that is taking place to provide bathroom and toilets for those 23 or so households in Belle Isle, I do hope that it is successful. Yeah? I am even willing to donate as well. But I am not going to donate in the way that they are talking about a national susu. As we have said, and we have proven earlier this week, the Public Finance Management Act is clear. You have to create that account. The Accountant General has to make sure and create a specific account. There's a procedure where that money would have to go. There's a procedure when you're collecting that money. People must receive receipts and so on. So there's a particular procedure. Yeah? So it's not just a situation that you just say, we have a national susu, everybody drop a 20 and a 10 and a... No. As a political organization, if the NDC, as a political organization, wants to do that, they could very well go ahead and do that. But as government, as the government of Grenada, you're not allowed to do things like that. There are rules when it comes to fiscal management. Read the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. Read the attached SROs, yeah, the regs or the regulations in relation to the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. And if you read that, and if you check the various sections that I've shown to you earlier this week, you'd realize that what took place at the Westerhall School with the collecting of money just like that, without receipts being issued and proper notation being taken of who donated and how much they donate and different things like that, is wrong. This is not church. You don't just pass a basket. This is the government of Grenada. Yeah? This ain't you're calling two people and ushers and tell them, you pass so with that bucket and you pass so with that bucket and see what you collect in between the pews. No. This is the government of Grenada. There are specific financial rules that govern the way that the government of Grenada interacts with, be it taxpayers or other people making payments into the government of Grenada and even receiving payments from the government of Grenada. Again, let me direct them again. Read the Public Finance Management Act of 2015. You'll gain a lot of clarity in relation to these things, all right? Nice. Yeah, we're trying to help. As I say, we're always trying to help, you know, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to help as much as possible.
Let the dollar come down to make the man on the ground. Him not screw face, him now and the front. Let the dollar come down to the unfortunate one. To bear no one, he must stretch no hands. Pockets are empty, the economy has plenty. Poverty is a shame and that's no gain. The treasury in surplus, but the people in minus. Man a ball and hold them head cause them are counting red.
Let me say a good night to Long Island. Yeah, always shouting out Brooklyn. Good night to Brooklyn and Long Island. Who's in Canarsie? Let me hear somebody from Canarsie.
To make the man on the ground, him not screw face, him now and the front. Let the dollar come down to the unfortunate one. To beg no one, he must stretch. So them say we were born poor, should leave poor, and die poor. Nothing more. While the rich get rich, a tall fence, pitbull and cameras. Desperate man still looks fi climb over. The system never truly cater for them in that strata. Though some days you may hand them $1. Check their standard of living. That's the real thing. Sustainability.
I seriously realize some people are looking for a confusion. Some people looking for an altercation. Some people are looking for... Yeah, I've seen it. Somebody messaged it to me and so on. So I know what's going on in Brazil right now. Yes, some people are looking for confrontation. But you see, it lends to what I've been speaking about before. That there are individuals trying to create an atmosphere of fear in Grenada. They're trying their very best to create that atmosphere of fear. So they don't want you to attend meetings of the new National Party. Yeah? They don't want you to enter into those meetings. And the reason they don't want you to enter into those meetings is because they don't want you to receive the proper information. That's why I always say to folks, if you want to view this program and you're afraid to view the program on Facebook because you feel somebody could see that you're viewing, go on YouTube and watch. That's why we have literally nearly 1,000 people on YouTube from time to time. Yeah? So you can go on YouTube and you can view. So don't let anybody try to scare you. Don't let anybody put fear into you. You have to stand up, you know. Yeah. So what's taking place there? Just another addition. So whether it's what they did when they in fact, we'll get back to that. Let me just play the song from the top for you because I see a message coming in there that I must attend to.
Let the dollar come down to make the man on the ground. Enough no face, enough and no friend. Let the dollar come down to the unfortunate one. To beg no one, he must stretch no hands. Pockets are empty, the economy has plenty. Poverty is a shame and that's no gain. The treasury in surplus, but the people in minus. Man a ball and hold them head cause them are counting red. Stuck with minimum wage, we now move to higher stage. Poverty is a crime, so who's doing the prison time? More the people procreate, less dollars circulate. So send down the guns high before it's too late. Dollar comes down to make the man on the ground. Him not screw face, him now and no friend. Let the dollar come down to the unfortunate one. To beg no one, he must stretch. So them say,
Yeah, every now and again the technology starts to give a little problem here and there.
I poor, nothing more. While the rich get rich, a tall fence, pitbull and cameras. Desperate man still looks, we climb over. The system never truly cater for them in that strata. Though some days you may hand them $1.
So again, the Mount Kumar Road is going to be open tomorrow. I'm very interested in hearing if the former government ministers who were directly involved in ensuring that that program was done, if they were invited. Yeah, whether they go or they don't go would be up to them. But at least if they were invited to the activity. And at the activity, I'm interested to hear if they acknowledged, if it's acknowledged that this was a project of the new National Party administration. If it is acknowledged that everything that was done, they had everything to do with the new National Party and nothing to do with the present administration. And then again, you know, you realize now they've been making changes in different areas like GIS, for instance. And it all goes back to the freedom of information that we've been speaking about. You know. There are many things that are taking place at the same time here. And if we focus on any one of them, we tend to lose out on something else. Let me play this clip. Let me play this clip for you here in relation to freedom of information.
Minister Dickon Mitchell says the media's difficulty in obtaining public information from government is one of the key issues he intends to address as the new Minister for Information. Mitchell explains that he believes in transparency and as such, he will be passing the Freedom of Information Act in Parliament to ensure that journalists in particular can perform their duties efficiently going forward.
One of the things that I think has to happen is that we have to strengthen the institutional framework that allows journalists to do their jobs, particularly as it relates to getting information from the government and the state. So we intend to pass the Freedom of Information Act that makes it easier for journalists and citizens to demand information from the government as to how they're conducting their business and affairs. And I think that will allow for journalists to be able to, when they ask the questions and the information is not being provided, to have a mechanism to demand that the information be provided.
This is one announcement that the president of the Grenada Media Workers Association, Gerard Joseph, says they will keep their eye on while hoping this legislation materialized.
We at the Media Workers Association of Grenada welcome such an initiative.
Now, yeah, so the Media Association of Grenada was talking there. They seem to be very quiet right now. They have nothing to say about what's going on in Grenada right now. But there you heard the then incoming Prime Minister, Mr. Dickon Mitchell, and Minister of Information saying that our journalists were having problems getting information from the government. And that one of the things that he aims to do is smooth that over. Let me play it again, to ensure that the people, the journalists, to do their job, that they can get information easily from the government of Grenada. Hear him again.
Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell says the media's difficulty in obtaining public information from government is one of the key issues he intends to address as the new Minister for Information. Mitchell explains that he believes in transparency and as such, he will be passing the Freedom of Information Act in Parliament to ensure that journalists in particular can perform their duties efficiently going forward.
One of the things that I think has to happen is that we have to strengthen the institutional framework that allows journalists to do their jobs, particularly as it relates to getting information from the government and the state. So we intend to pass the Freedom of Information Act that makes it easier for journalists and citizens to demand information from the government as to how they're conducting their business and affairs. And I think that will allow for journalists to be able to, when they ask the questions and the information is not being provided, to have a mechanism to demand that the information be provided.
This is one announcement that the president of the Grenada Media Workers Association, Gerard Joseph, says they will keep their eye on while hoping this legislation materialized.
Yeah, Mr. Gerard Joseph. Well, here's what now. Right now, the same man who said that has put things in place so that you can't get information. Yeah? Now, remember, they're putting legislation before the Senate, the upper house, next week, Wednesday, that is going to make it not easier, but absolutely even more difficult for you to receive any information. And you have gone mute. Gerard Joseph, the president of MWAG, I'm calling you out. I am wondering what is taking place with the Media Workers Association of Grenada. I'm seriously wondering what's taking place with that organization. Because back in the days, you would have already had a release coming out on behalf of the Media Workers Association. Can somebody, I know there are people from media, is there anyone out there who can tell me that the Media Association of Grenada have issued a release in relation to this? Is there anyone that could tell me that something has come out and that they've said that they're concerned or some sort of thing? Instead of that, we have... Instead of that, what we have from the Media Association is silence. And then you actually have some media houses who, in my view, have been operating as though they're just arms of the government. Yeah, that's my personal belief. Some of them are cheerleaders on behalf of the government. And I'm not blaming the actual workers themselves because I believe they have bosses above them that direct them what to do. So I'm not going to blame a media person who is out there working for a particular entity and is being told you have to do that and you have to do this and you have to do the other. So Mr. Gerard Joseph, because here is what has happened within the last couple months. One, the public workers have been given letters, oaths of affirmation. This didn't happen under the New National Party, but they have gotten this now saying that they can't give Ollie any information. So the days are going into a ministry and pulling aside a project officer and ask some questions about that project are over. The days of going into a ministry and you heard that some initiative is taking place and you ask a PS or you ask a senior administrative officer or you ask one of the workers who are directly involved in it questions, those days are over. Those days are gone. The same person was saying there about freedom of information and it's important to get information to the media and so on. But you, Mr. Gerard Joseph, you have nothing to say. You and the Media Association acting like a bunch of hypocrites. And I ain't had a hide to say that. I'm saying it open because it's the truth, it's reality. Listen, on this issue of the data protection bill, the so-called data protection bill, the only journalists that I know have spoken out about this, and as I said, I haven't got an opportunity to see Kalistra yet, what she did on, she has her weekly programs and so I haven't been able to follow up, so I don't know. So I don't want to accuse her because I know she's the type of individual will definitely, it's a topical issue that definitely, I may not agree with her. What she says and some of the stuff, I don't generally agree with her, but I know she will not be afraid to deal with that particular issue. So I look forward to hear what she has to say, especially a segment with Jenny Rapier. That is one of my favorite segments right now on a weekly basis. Yeah, I don't care. Sometimes they go attack me, I don't care. But I like to hear it, right? Now, outside of them, Dr. Kellen Bob, dealt with it since week before. He had a program this Sunday, he dealt with it. Who else have you been hearing speaking about the data protection bill? Which other media entities have you heard speaking in depth, giving you sections of the bill and saying, this is a problem, this is a potential issue, and so on? Yeah? Then you had a parliament sitting. The bill was the main topic of discussion at the parliament sitting. You had the two sides, the government side and the opposition side, giving their views in relation to it. The opposition side saying, tread carefully. Yes, we believe that the bill is important. We believe that the bill is timely. But there are sections in the bill that either need to be rewritten, reviewed, or removed. Let me say that again. Rewritten, reviewed, or removed. That is what is being said. It's not being said, don't do the bill at all. It's being said, have some consultations. And at the end of the consultations, once people who have issues, once people who have concerns in relation to various aspects of that bill have had their issues addressed, so that either it's explained to them, maybe they don't fully understand what's there, and that's what has them afraid. But instead of that, you have the Prime Minister getting up on his high horse. I don't know if it's a white horse or wherever he was riding, but he get up on a high horse and start about, oh, that's not genuine concern, and oh, why should we stop with this? All you had this for how much years? All sort of stupidness. That is not your job as Prime Minister. Maybe somebody needs to explain to him. Mia Motley, try and have a talk with him now. Yeah, somebody, try and have a talk with him. Right? That's not your job. People have concerns. You're the Prime Minister. It doesn't mean because your political organization won an election and you're now the Prime Minister that you're the repository of all knowledge and you don't have to answer to anybody. I mean, no, the Grenada Bar Association is calling on you all to review, to consult that they have issues with certain sections which can affect my and your constitutional rights. And the government just going ahead with it. Media Association, all is still quiet. You all heard what the Bar Association had to say. Your own member, I don't know if he's a member of the Media Association, but you've heard the words of Mr. George Worm. Of all people, imagine me quoting George Worm during a program. Imagine me and George Worm speaking the same language and the Media Association quiet. Nothing they have to say. So Mr. George Worm said, this is a call for the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, and the National Democratic Congress to pause with the controversial data processing bill that is before Parliament and to allow for a period of consultation with all stakeholders. Yeah? He directly states in this bill is a threat to press freedom and freedom of information in the public interest. In other words, it seemed like Mr. George Worm was listening and he started to, he followed what we're saying. Because just a few weeks ago, he was doing editorial about leaks. Yeah, he was doing editorial about leaks. And that Mr. Leak himself, and I say he's a plumber. I'm sure if they go home by him, they find a set of plumbing equipment and things. All kind of, hacksaw and elbow and all kind of thing. Yeah, they find everything by him. Right? Bonding tape and, all of that. George Worm also says, excuse me, a dictator can use this bill in its present form to go after any member of the media who obtains a sensitive government document and publishes it in the national interest. Media Association still quiet. Nothing. Crickets. Silent night, holy night, like we're going back to Christmas. It is the right, in fact, those of you who are on the Media Association of Grenada, you all need to hold your executive, you need to hold them accountable for being silent on this issue. Had this been 1 year ago, March 2022, and the new National Party had brought this bill, I tend to believe that we would have heard from the Media Association that the president would have been across all mediums and on social media, that they would have threatened to boycott any press conference, by the government of Grenada. Because that's the kind of thing that the Media Association used to get on with from time to time. But now, with something like this, that one of the senior members in the fraternity, although I don't really believe he's a journalist, but call it what you want. One of the senior members in their fraternity is saying to them things like, this bill is a threat to press freedom and freedom of information in the public interest. A dictator can use this bill in its present form to go after any member of the media who obtains a sensitive government document and publishes it in the national interest. It is the right of any journalist to obtain information that should be brought to the attention of the public at all times. That's George Worm. Media Association, silence. Radio silence. Not even my SOS. Radio silence. Yeah? And then people supposed to have confidence in them when they come out to speak about other issues. I'm calling you all out. I am calling you all out. You all have until Wednesday to put out a release in relation to this. I'm calling you all out. Seriously. NGO community. While there is at least one member of the NGO community that has been using her social media platforms to speak about the various aspects of this particular bill that is before Parliament, the NGO community as a body has been silent on this issue. So while last night we heard from King's Counsel, Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, we haven't heard from Mrs. Sandra Ferguson, even if it's just to write 2 lines and send out, and we haven't heard from the rest of the NGO community that were very noisy, that were very picky in relation to issues before. So when things like the COVID bill came up, there was up there even the person whose name is attached to this bill. In other words, the Attorney General, Claudette Joseph, whose name is attached to this bill. Yes, her name is the name that attached to the bill. She's the signatory. Was up in Parliament and she pedal pusher. Yes, she was up there protesting against the COVID bill. But this one, she bring it and she defending it and saying that people's concerns, basically what she's saying, paraphrasing here, is that people's concerns in relation to it are not genuine, are fueled by politics. Nobody is saying don't do the bill. We're saying if you're bringing a bill like this, you need to have consultation in relation to it. In fact, while she's saying that, while the Prime Minister is saying that the concerns are not genuine, I ain't bothering with Ron. He has no sense. I ain't bothering with Karina, second one that has no sense. But the rest of them as well, joining in with this thing about, oh, people's concerns are not genuine. You have people the likes of Dr. Francis Alexis saying that there are issues with that bill that need to be had, a second look needs to be taken at them. You have the Grenada Bar Association. Let me play for you all what and this one is coming not from me. This is coming from the from MTV News. I believe it's MTV News last night. Let me play this one for you all. Yeah, let me just play this one for you all from MTV News last night.
Of the concerns raised.
There seem to be some concerns regarding the bill, in particular the role and the function of the authorized officers, and also the ambit via which authorized officers are circumscribed. So in other words, who are authorized officers? There are other sections of the bill that attorneys felt, for example, they are of the view that personal data, the definition for personal data should be expanded to include facial and other data-like features. Also, members had concerns in relation to the ambit of the execution of the warrant and whether or not that section is overbroad, and it could lead to constitutional breaches, and whether or not it should not be more restrictive. So we would forward to the Attorney General chambers in short order what are the views of the members.
A dossier will be sent to the Attorney General with the concerns and recommendations made by the GBA. However, it must be noted, according to Sylvester, that in previous times, the GBA would receive a copy of the bill from the Office of the Attorney General to give their input. However, in this case, this was not done. Sylvester further explained why it is necessary to have a legal representative present.
There is the formation of whatever commission that should be had pursuant to the Act. We would recommend that there should always be a legal person on that. And also, these acts should have statutory rules and regulations. They're referred to as SRO. And even though the acts speak to regulations, there were no regulations that was passed or that form part of the Data Protection Act. And there are many acts many laws that is on the books that speak to regulations, and there are no regulations.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
Right, so yes, thank you, Donella Hostin and MTV News. So you've heard the president of the Grenada Bar Association basically saying to the Grenadian people the same thing that I've been saying going on 3 weeks now. 3 weeks now. We have been saying that here on Talking Points, that there are issues when it comes to this bill. So now the Bar Association is putting together their dossier, their various issues that they have with the bill to bring forward to the Attorney General's chambers. Hopefully that will be done over the next 72 hours or so. Well, we're going into the weekend, but at least by Monday, I would hope that they could get it in. Because remember, this bill, and I think it's the only thing on the order paper, is down to be discussed on Wednesday in the Parliament. And if it is passed in its present form in the Parliament, your constitutional rights, my constitutional rights, and even Mr. Gerard Joseph of the Media Workers Association of Grenada's rights will all be in danger. Not the nonsense you hear. They went in Parliament talking about, I think it was, I don't want to call the wrong name or who said it, but one of them was saying that, oh, this bill gives new rights to you. This bill ain't give no new rights to you. Talking stupidness. Plain and simple. I ain't had to put it and bridge it and put it any different way. They talking stupidness. Caller who called on the WhatsApp a little while ago, I put you on hold while we completed what we were hearing from Mr. Derek Sylvester there, the president of the Grenada Bar Association. He's telling them, yes, all the lawyers in Grenada, the legal minds, the people who went to all the different universities they could go to for law, both in the US and the UK and throughout the Caribbean and so on, is saying to the government of Grenada, hey, you all have some problems in this thing. We're not saying that the bill is not a good bill in the general sense, but that within the bill there are bad sections. It's like you have a chain that you're going to use to lock your gate, but there are bad sections in it. The chain is a good thing, but there are bad sections, so it wouldn't lock your gate proper. Yeah, it might cause injury. You might pull it and piece of thing might come out and stick you in your hand. There are problems. That has been what the New National Party has been saying from day one. That is what the political leader of the New National Party said up at the Parliament building when he did that press conference. He didn't say that the bill is a bad bill. He said there are sections of the bill that need to be relooked. And as such, a consultative process needs to take place. And I hope you all, I'll play it again. I hope you all have heard the section there where Mr. Derek Sylvester said that previously, acts like this, I could tell you where he got it from, Yeah, I could tell you where the first place you see the bill from, I could tell you. Right? But the government of Grenada never sent the bill to the Bar Association. They never sent that. In fact, I could tell you that's from since the 23rd of June. In fact, let's leave out the 23rd of June. But from the first Parliament sitting of this parliamentary session, under this administration, nothing that they have brought to Parliament has been sent to the Bar Association. Nothing. Under the new National Party, they would send different bills. I'm not saying they sent every single one, but you generally sent over the documents that you sent to the media, you sent to different people. You would send it to the Bar Association because they are lawyers. What you're doing is you're putting something into law. These are the people that have to face it in the courts. These are the people that have seen it in action. So it's one thing to have the theory about building something. It's another thing when you build it and I have to drive it or somebody else have to drive it. Then we can tell you different things about it. So that's why you have test drivers. So that's why you send the bill usually to the Grenada Bar Association. They review it and they give you input in relation to it. They say, no, careful with this, you should change that, etc. We have a caller. Hello? Okay, we lost. Oh, no, wrong line. We have a caller. Good night.
Hey, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm quite fine. You go right ahead. You're live.
Man, I'm doing well. Man, you are doing a heck of a good job. I tell you what. Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you call these guys out. And guess what happened after you called them out? Francis Alexis came and he spoke about the bill. I heard the Ruggles spoke about the bill. Now the Bar Association spoke about the bill. Even George Warren spoke about the bill. My brother, keep calling them out.
Of course.
And you're not doing thing with guests. You're doing thing with facts.
Yeah, that's why I'm showing people what I'm speaking about.
You tell them what the bill is all about. You say it's a good bill, but there are certain things in the bill that need to be reviewed. So keep calling them out, my brother. They're coming out one by one.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
You know, brother, so keep up the good job.
Okay, thank you. And here's what, folks. You all have to join me in calling them out too. Yeah? I am pretty sure as well, right, that the unions should have an issue in relation to this, because here is what. The onus in relation to the information lies with the workers, you know. The people who processing, the processors, as they call them in the bill, they call them the data processors. So the organization and the people that work with the organization. And as such, the draconian measures like search and seizure, etc., that are contained in this bill, is the workers going to be affected with it? And in particular, the Public Workers Union, because we all know where this bill is heading. The Public Workers Union, who already has a situation where every single day now you have different people going out on administrative leave. You have the situation where a deputy commissioner of police is demoted down to a superintendent of police. Then you have some nincompoop calling the radio this morning talking about he's happy for things. You see the attitude, you see the mentality of the NDC mouthpieces. You hear the mentality of them. Fire them, get rid of them, lock them up. You hear the mentality of them. Evil, and all the woman that say it in Trinidad, they're wicked. Evil people, bad-minded. There is no way them could see God's face. Because they only are thinking about their political party and not the better of the country. So remember, these people who shouting this kind of thing, trade union movement, Mr. Brian Gimes, Miss Daisy Hazard, Brother Andre Lewis, Teacher Jude, you're going back hiding again. We know you're going to pop up on Mayday. Yeah, but Teacher Jude, all of you who represent different workers in different places, you all have a responsibility to come out and speak on this bill. Had it been the New National Party, I'm sure right now we'd hear a lot in relation to this bill. Good afternoon. Good evening, actually.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing, my brother?
I am quite fine, actually. You go right ahead. You're live.
Keep the faith. Keep on keeping on. Yes?
Yes, sir.
We got to call them out. You know, Sheldon, I'm hearing, I heard that there was a shooting incident this week in the Guelph.
Yes, there was, yes.
And the person that is involved, the one that got shot, isn't this guy on bail?
I don't know any details in relation to it. I cannot say yes, no, or indifferent. I have not seen a release by the Royal Grenada Police Force. I am unaware of any of the details except that shots were fired, an individual has died, and I send my condolences to his family.
Okay. Well, you know, it's alleged, right? It's alleged that some young boy got shot in Guave in recent time. It's alleged. That's what I'm picking up. And
No, it's not alleged that we mean another case?
Say again?
You mean another case, not the same one this week? You mean there's another case of someone being shot?
Right, the same one that got shot this week.
Let's not make any allegation if we don't know. In relation to that is a criminal case. It's a murder case. Unless we know for sure what we're talking about, don't say it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, let the police do their job. If we don't know for sure, let's leave that part alone.
All right. So anyway, NBC, right?
Yeah.
They are calling for Grenadians to come out and partake or unite with them. All right?
Yeah.
But what they are doing, what these people are doing, they are shooting themselves in the feet. And just now they're going to shoot themselves in the head and destroy the very fabric of the organization. Because what they are doing, you can see that they are looking for green blood, as Mr. Pierre always say. They are looking to get rid of every NNP supporter. You know, those are the things that are NNP supporters, and their people are falling victim. Now, I'm looking at the way that they are operating. Okay, and this kind of my time now kind of thing that is been realized. Now, just imagine you're gonna move acting DCP back down, demote him to a superintendent of police. Who is the one really doing this thing? Who is calling the shots? Right? We need to hear the voice of the Minister of National Security concerning these matters. We are not hearing them, and we are seeing juniors being appointed or promoted to a higher rank. Yeah? And the person, listen, there's one person who is being promoted that has at least two, as far as we know, two investigations on him. Two of them. So what is that? Are we advancing or organizing a corrupt government? What is it we are doing?
My brother, there's a reason that they don't want information coming out. And on one side of the mouth, it's freedom of information. On the other side, the actual actions are, let's make all the public workers sign a document they can't pass any information. You understand? All that sort of nonsense.
Well, listen, they're going to have real problems in this country because there is going to be a rebellion. There's people going to rebel. I mean, we are not promoting it and we are not encouraging it, but if you would behave that way as our leaders, and our young persons, our young people are seeing that happening among our leaders, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think? Yeah? They are going to disrespect, well, in fact, they start already. Listen what they're calling our political leader. Listen the names that they are calling him. Listen how they are treating other parliamentarians of the opposite side. So they are breeding the ground for rebellion. They are breeding the ground for stubbornness. They are breeding the ground for disrespect. And that is going to bury them. That is going to put the nails in the coffin. Let them continue doing that. They're going to see something. We are warning you, this team, behave and stop acting that way. You know, stop distressing people. Stop doing what you're doing. You know,
I could say
they
this.
haven't even returned the money to the poor and vulnerable persons that they have taken it from.
I can say this though. The situation in the Royal Grenada Police Force is the worst that it has been in many, many, many years. Many, many, many years. The situation with the ranks, the men and women of the Royal Grenada Police Force is the worst. The atmosphere within there is the worst that it has been in many, many. And you would know, you're a former officer in it.
Yes.
You would know. It's the worst that it has been in many, many years.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing it, and I mean, I've never seen that before. You just dip in your hand and instead of alleged corrupt top cop, persons who have not done anything for the police force, I see them back in there. The police force in that time, they had to wear boots and other things that have been given to them, Salvation Army and other organizations, the Catholic churches. No, man, come on. Something is definitely wrong with us. And we are moving on. We are moving on. We are the country. It's a set of, I don't know. We really need to pray harder and harder and harder and ask these people to leave where they are. Mm-hmm. And we gotta ask them.
All right, my brother.
Anyway, have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Good night
yes,
to you, Grenada.
Indeed. 44073. Let me just make sure I'm clear and clear. Right, yeah. 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. So I'm calling on the Media Workers Association of Grenada to join in this discussion. To join. If you find everything is okay with the bill, come out and say that. Come out and say, as media workers, you're okay. Because here's what, read the whistleblower part of it very carefully. It protects the people who leak the information, and so under certain circumstances, it doesn't protect the people who receive it. Yeah? Go ahead. Read it and you'll see what I'm speaking about. We have a call online.
Good night, Mr. Sheldon Scott.
Good night to you, Cammy. How are you?
And good night to the Grenadian people. I just come in and I was lucky to get you. I say, well, I know you're going to be a little extra tonight. I just come from a meeting in Brizan.
Yes.
We had the senator organize a little meeting to explain to we, as the Grenadian people, with the bill and the effect we're going to have with certain section in the bill.
Yes.
And then Dr. Mitchell, as the opposition leader, passing to give a few words to us. And today and behold, Dum show up in Brizan with his phone, come taping and taking pictures. When somebody say, well, who are they? When I turn back and we see Dum come inside there, taping what's going on. But it's a good thing, Sheldon Scott, and all the Grenadians that is listening. Nobody wasn't saying nothing bad. He wasn't talking bad about these people. He was explaining to us about the bill and the concern of the Grenadian people that they were sending home, and people that is suffering and struggling out here. And everybody, although you pass, people saying, well, they don't get work, they don't have work, and they're suffering, and they need money, and they think they're selling and whatever. When we look back, we see Dum inside there. Nobody invite him. He come and think, well, Sheldon Scott, when I turn around and I see Dum, I say, what you doing here? Boy, that man take out. He run for his life tonight. Tomorrow morning, you go on the program and run him out. They would have minced him. You understand? He run for his life.
But Cammy, you know, when Dr. Mitchell had his birthday party for his mother, that disgusting individual did the same thing and came in.
That man,
and when people take out on him, he ran out.
Any mental home. He could have come in and sit down.
I wouldn't.
Everybody and listen. And if he has something to say, we'll allow him to say.
Cammy, let's be careful.
That's what he has to say, because the gathering there tonight was the concern of the Grenadian people who need work, people that go home,
Kiami,
people who are frustrated, and that was what was going on there.
Kiami, hold on. You made a statement a while ago. That individual is trying his best to get into a back and forth with me, but he's not of the intellect or intellectual level to have that. So he will try legally to get at me. Now you made a statement that he needs to be in the mental home. Let's clarify. We don't know if he has mental problems, even though he acts like a person that has serious mental problems. But we don't know if he has mental problems, all right? So we will say maybe he needs to check with the mental home and see if he has mental problems.
Because you come with your phone. If you come, the gathering goes for everybody. And then NDC get right everybody. You could have come because you had empty chairs. You could have come and sit down and listen. And if you have a point or you want to say something that concerns you, you could have said. You come with your phone taking picture. Well, who tell him to come there? He had to run. You understand? When I turn around and I see him and I call him out, I say, what you doing there? That man run for his life tonight. Hey, I don't understand.
All right, Gabby.
Grenadians.
Let's not make them.
Warning y'all.
Let's not make them the topic of discussion.
People must speak out for the things that is wrong in this country, because a lot of people is suffering. You have people who have, and you have who don't have. You understand? My concern why I went there tonight was to talk about all the workers, all the people that have boots on the terminal that will get affected with the hour that we have to close and go home, and we're not making money as we should. Yes, somebody pass, they buy a little lollipop, they buy a biscuit, they buy water, they buy Coke. But most of us cannot do things that we used to do to make the money to pay the rent and to pay your water bill and your light bill. You come there to disturb people. You understand? I don't understand. We need to speak out, Grenadians. We need to get together as a people and do what we're supposed to do for our country. You understand? I find all this way back too much. And things are affecting we as a people, and nobody afraid to speak. We need to speak out because a lot of people is getting sick. People getting breakdown. People frustrated. Elderly, young, everybody. I seen that with me eye. I don't come in on the radio to call your program to come and lie. That is something I've seen daily. You understand? Under the NNP government, I'm not saying they perfect and they didn't make mistakes. But, Mr. Scott, there was a time when you have people do the little road work. They come and they spend that money, and that money circulates. And you could have able to buy what you have to buy, pay your bills, and live comfortable. But now, everybody crying. Everybody wants you to give them $1 to pay the bus. A lady come yesterday. Only she boss said she had to go to Sates. And she said, Miss, I'm hungry. I need something to drink. Please, please. I'm not lying. You have others who come in for a bus there. They come in, I don't have. And I'm feeling guilty because I don't have to give. I don't understand what is going on in Grenada. What's going on? We're having a hard time. Some people there in England and America, and they're just running them out. Look at that. Again, you're not, we as a people not giving the NNP the credit they need. For that road, Kumar Road, to Bushaju, all the houses, all the not giving the people that hard work. Now run right saying it's his own. But the Grenadian people know. The Grenadian people know that project was under the NNP, Dr. Kit Claudius Mitchell and his team that built that road. Are they lose all that money? The Prime Minister in England give all that money, and are you lose that? And that work would have started from Molinet to Somerton. Are they not speaking about these things? Are they not playing the blame game and only blaming kids? We all Grenadians, and we all of us going to pass what's coming. There are some red hot times that is coming in Grenada. Business people crying out. People cannot pay the bills, they can't pay the mortgage because they're not earning enough. So yeah.
All right, Cammy.
And
All
I will
right.
say not to Sheldon, good night.
Good night, my dear. Yes, folks, and I want to play for you all because some of you did not get the opportunity last night to listen to Mr. Ruggles Ferguson. Many of you were not able to join on the Zoom and so I want to use the opportunity for a few minutes now. Let me take this call first, and then I'm going to take a few minutes and play part of the presentation made by Mr. Ruggles Ferguson last night. We have a caller online.
Hello. Hello, good night.
Good night, my dear.
Yeah, good night, Sheldon. I'm a first-time caller.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm calling from Brisbane. Yeah, tonight, we have a meeting, Dr. Mitchell and Neil and Franklin. We have a meeting, like a discussion in the community center. Here come that imposter Ken Jones. I want Ken Jones to leave Dr. Mitchell alone. Ken Jones informed the door taping because everybody could watch. I get so mad. Ken Jones will get so much threat tonight. Police will come from Brisbane Falls.
Let's not make
Ken
threats.
Jones to leave Dr. Mitchell alone.
Let's not make
Leave
threats.
Dr. Mitchell alone. Dr. Mitchell is the parliamentary representative for the Northwest, and he has a right to come and discuss with us and talk. For we to know what is the problem in Grenada. Ken Jones have the time. Used to say Carl Dr. Mitchell all kind of name. Now they're in power. They're making people see trouble. Don't have trouble Grenadian scene. You understand? What they did. The people at Brisbane, the community center belongs to them. What they did, they take the key and they give our one fighting perseverance. And they use to Brisbane. I cry out shame on this government. Shame on this NDC government. NDC government ruling Grenada. We are iron peace. And God help us in this nation. God help us. Any kind of government in power and they interfere with the welfare of the poor, they're in trouble. Because people crying out. Jesus tell a man in the Bible, go and feed the poor, sell all what you have and give to the poor. And NDC taking from the poor. And today I call on God to deal with these people. Okay, Sheldon, thank you.
No problem, caller. Let me say this, huh? Understand what is distraction. Understand how someone can try to insert themselves into a discussion. So we are having a discussion on the data protection bill and other very important issues here in Grenada. The individual would like to be the topic of discussion on this program. We have to understand that we ought not to make that individual, let them be the topic of discussion on their own program. If they want to make me the topic of discussion on their program, I have some cousins in the United States have a message for the individual and he'll get it, not from me, they'll tell him themselves. Yeah? But let them be the topic of discussion on their own program. They are trying to set the issues that we discuss, and they are trying to become the issue we discuss, so that the information, like what I'm going to play from you from Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, like what you've heard earlier from Mr. Derek Sylvester, like the other issues that are affecting you and I, they want us to leave off all of that and focus on them. Let us not give them that opportunity. Let us be wiser than they think we are. So let us focus on the real issue here. Yes, what has happened is disgusting. But what happened? All they see you do it, all they expect better. All they expected something else from them individuals like that. All they expect them to do something decent. I mean, you all know who you're talking about. So nothing like that is supposed to be surprising. So it happened. That's it. Right. You guard against it. You deal with it in whichever way, but let us have our discussion here tonight. So at this stage, and the last caller, you realize she spoke about that, but then she went on and she spoke about all the other issues. That's the thing. She spoke about, she let you know what's going on in Northwest. She let you know how she feels about what is taking place. And she spoke with passion in relation, for some reason here, the throat start, in relation to these issues. So let us remain focused. All right? Nice. So I'm going to play for you all now Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, part of his presentation last night. Not the entire thing, but I'm going to play part of his presentation from last night.
Warrant to enter and search. This is a controversial section. I know the Antigua Act, for whatever reason, does not have this provision, warrant to enter and search. If a magistrate is satisfied by information on oath supplied by an authorized officer that there are reasonable grounds for suspecting that an offense under this act has been or is being committed, and the evidence of the commission of the offense is to be found on any premises specified by the authorized officer, the magistrate may issue a warrant authorizing the authorized officer, A, to enter the premises, B, to search the premises. Right? Now, the definition of authorized officer under the Act, this is not a police officer, by the way. It's not a police officer, under the normal scheme of things. The police, who normally have a charge with the conduct of investigations, will go to the magistrate to conduct a search. In this case, an authorized officer means an officer under section 44 who has been authorized in writing for the purposes of this section. And basically, the authorized officer can here be, under 44 says, the chief executive officer of the commission may delegate any power or function under this act to an authorized officer. So remember, the chief executive officer is the officer for the time being exercising the highest level of administrative function within a public body. And the chief executive officer or the information commission may delegate that power to an authorized officer who may enter premises to search that premises. Now, that in my respectful view, is certainly overreaching. The powers given is to inspect, examine, operate, and test any equipment found on the premises and which is used or intended to be used for the processing of personal data. So that involves computers, cell phones. You can inspect and seize documents or any material found on the premises and which may constitute evidence of the commission of an offense. Now, just to pause to say that from a constitutional standpoint, for example, the nature of computers and cell phones are as such that if warrants are given to search places, then and seize equipment, for example, if the cell phone is believed to be stolen, it's a legal instrument, then you may take it. But to search a cell phone, for example, to take a cell phone, basically be exposed to the inner privacy of an individual should require a special warrant to be issued, and not the normal warrant. About 6 years ago, I brought a constitutional motion in Grenada with respect to that, which was successful but never appealed. This, however, seems to give broad powers to search and seize documents, inspect, examine, operate, and test equipment. Those are very broad and sweeping powers. Especially, it is given to individuals, not who are skilled in investigation like the police, but to others, including civilians. Now, E, require any person on the premises to provide an explanation of any document or other material found on the premises. Now, what if the person refuses? You have a constitutional right to silence. I don't know how you will require a person to provide an explanation of a document or material, and especially in relation to F, to require any person on the premises to provide other information as may reasonably be required to determine whether the data user has committed an offense. So the question is whether or not these people, you may or may not answer questions that the police pose to you. So the question is, what is there a value or a consequence in doing so? And the Commissioner on Authorized Officer, upon the authority of a warrant issued by a magistrate and accompanied by members of the police force, may at any time enter any premises for the purpose of discharging any functions or duties under this act or regulations. So the question under that section, which probably goes the furthest in affecting people's rights and opening doors for possible arbitrary searches and abuse, whether this section is too overbroad as formulated. In certain countries, in fact, that power is given to the High Court, a judge of the High Court, and not even a magistrate. But that a magistrate is a judicial officer, and what it would mean is that the magistrates cannot do this just out of the course of things, but must scrutinize every application.
Yes, folks, so that's just some of the discussion that took place last night in relation to the Data Protection Bill. All right, so that is part of the discussion that took place last night. And I think we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Brother Sheldon.
Good night, sir. Go right ahead. You're
live.
Everything? I'm quite fine.
Yes, okay. Brother Sheldon, I listen the Data Protection Bill in Parliament. And, when I listen to the ministers, like when you give children an exam, and what they cram for, when you give the exam, is totally something different what they cram for. But they know is something what they expect you to understand, know that. And but they just go ahead and see what they have to say, what they cram for. Because when you listen to the majority of the ministers, they come down and they were this showing word to the opposition MPs. And a lot of them did not really debate the data protection bill. It's just showing word. So they come like they write down something overnight, and they come and they just saying what they upon their mind. And And I read it, was saying, if the people that had concern, they would have come and demonstrate in Parliament. But there are many ways to do things. Right? Many ways to do things. And I listened to the President of the Senate, Mr. Derek Sylvester, and he was saying the bill is a good bill, but he has some concern with that bill, especially the right of citizens. The right of citizens. And this is what NP was saying. NP never said that the bill is not something good. Right? But then there's a portion of the bill that is that they have to look over it. And it's important they have consultation with the stakeholders. And Mr. Sylvester also saying many times they have to dictate a bill. They send it to the Bar Association to look at it. But they say the government never send that bill to them to look at after it. Look at it. They don't do it. Right? You see, that's strange. You know, like it comes like if they want to bypass everybody and just do what they want to do. Right? So they don't care about nobody. They only care about themselves. They care about themselves. And Brother Sheldon, information is key. And then when people get information and they understand something, it will not be a problem for them because they understand it and they agree. But when you just go in and do things like if in 9 of us in Parliament, you just say that is that and is that. This is unfair to the Ghanaian people. Right? We live in a democratic country. We don't live in a country where, like in Russia, where you say that and is that. You have to just obey what we see. No, we have freedom of speech. But if we have freedom of speech and we do it, you have a right to talk about what is happening in the country and what's our opinion. We do it in a respectful way. We do it in a respectful way. And I listened to Mr. Rogers last night, and he did a wonderful job in explaining to those that are on Zoom concerning that the people have more understanding now, but there's still some area in the bill that need to change. I need to explain to the Ghanaian people. You need to explain to the Ghanaian people. Everything that NPL say is a problem. That's the same problem the Bar Association has. That's the same problem. Right? And you need to send out that to the media. You need to give a copy to all stakeholders. Let it go through it. Because if the bill passes in that stage, it will affect and hurt many people. And if you check what you said last night, Sheldon, the reason why Mr. Woman against that, you know why? Because he knows when NFP then government, you get a lot of information. So, you know, if that pass, it will hurt him. When I want to government come over there and NFP go back in government, it will hurt him and it will be a problem. So, you don't want to pass. Right? You don't want to pass. And he's the only one that is so far that I hear speaking about it. The last person expecting to speak about it, the one speaking about it. And the government had to take heed. Go back and look at some changes in the bill. Mm-hmm. Because he was saying last night, in Antigua, in one country of bill, there were 20 portions of the bill. They had to they leave it out. They leave it out. And then when you do that, when you make some changes and do certain things, it don't make you less. It make the country better, and people are afraid to say what their opponent was said, and one they do, trying to destroy other people. So, Brother Sheldon, I want to say again, and I agree to the opposition leader, the Bar Association is taking up the matter and calling this. He said that they're going to send some information to the Attorney General. So she will look up that. If they have a talk with her to see what could be done with that bill. Now, that bill is going to hurt everybody. Only one side of people going to hurt.
Okay, caller.
Everybody going. If it pass, in that's the way it is right now.
Okay.
But I shouldn't have a blessed night.
Thank you very much. And folks, I think we have yes, we have another call on the line. Good night. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good night, caller. You're live. Go right ahead.
I just love your show. I love what you're doing. It's good that you are showing all of the badness they're doing. I love it.
Thank you very much, caller.
I love it. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. I'm watching every night.
Yes, thank you very much.
Every
All right,
night.
my dear.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, yes, and we're playing this. We're saying these things because we want people to understand what is taking place here. The former NDC administration, as much problems as I as an individual, I'm speaking about me, Sheldon here, had with the NDC administration between 2008 and 2013, with some of the legislation that they brought to Parliament, you know what they did? They posted it online so that at least people could have gone there, be it the Bar Association, be it me, you, anybody, could have gone there, gotten it, went over it, and said, well, yes, we agree, we don't agree with different parts of it, and so. The NNP administration on coming in, especially when it came to the Electronic Crimes Act, got into the habit now that when the legal drafting unit has completed with a bill and so on, that it was sent to the Grenada Bar Association so that they could have a review of it. Then remember, you also had things like the social partners and so, where things were being discussed. So you had the trade union movement, you had the NGOs, and you had the business community, everybody were part of the social partners. So they were able to know some of what was coming up as part of the legislative agenda of the new National Party. So you didn't end up with all of these problems taking place from time to time, except when it came to the COVID bill, and we understood why those sorts of measures had to be taken at that point in time. The year 2020 wasn't a normal year, so you couldn't approach it in a normal sense. Yeah? All of us remember 2020 because we spent a large portion of it locked inside, we house can't come out. Ain't it? Having to shop on certain days and due to letters and all kind of different calculations had to take place. So we understand where that COVID bill came from back in those days. All right? But this NDC administration, not only did they refuse to send the bill to the Bar Association for consultation, in fact, and I would have loved to ask Mr. Derek Sylvester that question directly. In fact, I think maybe we could invite him next week and see if he's available. But I'd love to ask him the question directly. If the bill was sent afterwards to the Bar Association by the government of Grenada, or if it's only the copy that they received by other means. But if the Bar Association received a copy of this bill from the government of Grenada, the legal drafting unit or the Attorney General's chambers, did they ever up to this point in time receive a copy of the bill there? Or did they receive it by other means? This is what is happening. They're saying they're restructuring GIS. You and I know they mean they're going and fire some of those people that there. You and I know that's what they mean. Remember when there was restructuring, Marketing and National Importing Board, what happened? They were restructuring. Now they're restructuring GIS. They ain't doing no consultation on that one because they already have the agenda, what they intend to do and what they want to do. And a lot of people already line up. A certain company of a certain advisor within the government already line up for all of the side contracts, either directly or indirectly. I ain't call no advisor name. I am saying that an advisor to the government of Grenada right now, with all of the restructuring taking place in GIS, that they already line up for a set of side contracts, either directly or indirectly from the government of Grenada. Meanwhile, the workers in GIS have to be watching over the shoulder now, wondering, am I going home? Am I going to be continuing? Do I have to look for a job outside of the service right now? What do I have to do? Am I going to be transferred to do something else somewhere else? What is my situation? They have stopped doing nightly news on the GIS and decided that, hey, we don't need to do that. We are just going to do once a week. In the same way that they have decided that they're not doing any press conferences. They're not doing press conferences because the Prime Minister believes that he does not need to prostrate himself before the media. He believes that he does not have to sit there and allow himself to be questioned by anybody. So he doesn't want to sit there and have the Linda Straker, the Dr. Kellen Bob, or the Callistra Faria, or the Nisha Bernard, Nisha Paul or Nisha Bernard, I think it's Nisha Bernard or something, Nisha Paul, I think, or the same Gerard Joseph, he doesn't want to sit down there and allow himself to be questioned by these people. He's refusing to do that. And then he doesn't even trust his ministers enough to send them on their own. So unless he's available, there can't be any post-cabinet press briefing. Unless the Prime Minister is available. That's the freedom of information that he talk about. The freedom of information he talk about is making all of the public workers sign a document now that you cannot tell anybody anything going on in the department, the ministry or division that you are working. You can't tell nobody. In fact, if you go home and you tell your husband or you tell your wife you have breached the oath of affirmation, you can't even tell them. You can't tell nobody. Yeah, that is a lodge right now. Yeah, it's a secret society. You're not allowed to speak what happened inside on the outside. Yeah? So that is what they're doing. They're creating this atmosphere of fear. And why? Because why do you have to be worried if somebody says something? Listen, they're doing like the information in the government is theirs, you know. Let me tell something to Deacon Mitchell and the 14 ministers. The information in the government is mine. It's not yours. You are the custodian. Yeah, you are the custodian of my property. That is mine. So when, after you all have completed this process, I get information because I am going to test you all. I'm telling you all tonight, the 23rd day of March 2023, I'm telling you all now that I will be the first person all you have to pick up in relation to that. Because that information that you have inside there is mine. You all are the government, which is representative of the people. I am the people. So jail me for my own information. If I want to know how much you paying your friend, girlfriend, outside woman, all of them who have them big contracts and them right now, working in different ministries and departments that all you hire, if I want to know how much you paying them, yes, you all heard me correctly. If I want to know how much you all paying them, if it's $8, $9, $10, $15,000, I want to know. It's my business. I have a right to know as a citizen. And if you refuse to tell me, then you should demit office. Because it means you're not doing the job that you were in place there to do and you're refusing to follow the rules. So look at pass what you want to pass, you know. And look at sign what you want to sign. By the end of the day, that is my information. So all you go really have to jail me, you know. I'm telling all you. Because I want to know. The opposition leader asks questions. It is in the interest, the questions that he has asked are in the interest of the Grenadian people. Not just in his own interests. Yes, he's a Grenadian too. Not just in his own, but in all of our interests. So we want to know if Mr. Patrick Simmons is an advisor, how much he working for. We want to know if Ian Django Thomas is an advisor, how much he working for. We want to know how much money you all are paying Franca Alexis Bernardine on a monthly basis. We want to know if she has a duty-free concession on vehicle and if she's receiving a traveling allowance and what other benefits she is receiving. We want to know. We want to know the benefits that you're paying. Listen, the permanent secretaries, we don't have to ask that because it's in the budget document. These people that you have brought in, they are not contained in the budget document. Not in the broader sense. So we need to know all of the people that all you're giving them big money and all you ram up in the ministry of implementation and transformation. We want to know how much you're paying them. What is wrong? If you're paying them according to the capability and the competency, and we know that these people are competent and they could do the job, you shouldn't have a problem in telling us how much you're paying them. Regardless if it's somebody, friend, relative, or whatever. We don't care if it's your sister. We don't care if it's your brother that you hire and you put inside there. Once they're capable of doing the job. And if they're capable of doing the job and you're paying them the right salary, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. Grenada is a small place, so if my brother do have to work too, we don't have a problem with that. But at the end of the day, come out and tell us. And when you're not coming out and tell us, and the opposition leader on 2 occasions sends the questions to you and you refuse to answer, then we are left to believe that you doing something wrong that you're hiding. Let me say it again. I want you to hear me clearly. We are left to believe that you are doing something wrong that you want to hide. When you come to us a few months ago, you're asked the question in relation to what was taking place at Ron Redhead's constituency office, and you say you're going to investigate and get back to the media. Months now, waiting. Months. No response. You know when you go outside the court and they call in people, and they call somebody name and the person don't answer, and the officer lean back in and he say, no response, your worship. No response, your worship. Yeah, they call your name, I think it's 3 times. And they, no response, your worship. I used to be a court reporter many years ago. Yeah. So up to now, we can't hear about that. Then you have a second issue where you hear that he has to do a joint statement. Well, I don't know if they're still rolling the joint. But up to now, that joint statement can't come out. I wonder why. What happened? Will they get bad wrapping paper? Up to now, we can't hear that joint statement. I know if they're still trying to get the kush. But you can't hear that joint statement up to now. But it seems like, what Teflon? You know it had Teflon done, that's Teflon run. So nothing is sticking to him. That Teflon run. Yeah. So you could sell a vehicle that is not yours. Sue me. Sue me. Come, sue me. You could sell a vehicle that is not yours and get away with it. Ain't it? Look at that way you do. You admit it in the papers. You sell a vehicle that is not here. Anybody else here that here? You understand? That is the kind of thing that's taking place here right now. That's what's taking place in Grenada right now. And it's important for you to know, but not just to know, you know. You need to speak out about it. You need to let other people know. When you go to the shop, make sure the shopkeeper know and whoever else in the shop know. When you go to the bar, make sure them fellas in the bar know. When you go on the bus, make sure the guys on the bus and the women on the bus, everybody know. Down to the school children to go take it home and tell their parents. Make sure they know. Because what they are trying to do is make sure that we don't know and that all the information is covered down and that we are silenced. That's what they're trying to do. So if Carl Caton, Igwe, Andre Donald, Mr. Francis Pierre don't talk about it, or I don't talk about it, you're not hearing some of these issues out there. Because like the media is either afraid to speak about it, or maybe the media in bed with them, so they just, whatever happened, we don't mind, we there with you. But you realize that these issues are coming out, and there are certain stations that are not touching that at all. Not with a 15-foot bamboo pole, they ain't touching them stories. Yeah, what you all afraid of? I'll give kudos to MTV to just try. I like to give Jackie Jacketa and Joan Shiblaus, I watch. I will say MTV does try. The other station that was supposed to be the national station, I think right now it acting and operating like an arm of GIS. Yes, I said it. And I ain't blaming the reporters. To me, they're acting like an arm of GIS. Who vex? I say what I say. Yeah? That is my opinion. And I am entitled to it under the Constitution of Grenada. Nobody can vex with me for it. That is mine. Right? So folks, it is 47 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. We have roughly 13 minutes remaining. You can call us 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get on the inside. And just before we end, I want to play again because I want it to sink in. I want to play the two of them back to back for you. I want to play, first of all, I want to play Mr. Derek Sylvester. All of us know Derek. Derek ain't no dunce. Derek has, dunce, fool. We know Derek Sylvester, ain't it? All of us know Derek Sylvester. So when Derek saying this, and he's not saying it as Derek Sylvester, he's saying it as president of the Grenada Bar Association, that this is what the membership, all the different lawyers are saying in relation to that bill. Yet still the Attorney General saying people bad-minding them. Yeah, so let's hear what he has to say off of MTV News. Let's hear what Mr. Derek Sylvester, President of the Grenada Bar Association, had to say about that bill.
Of the concerns raised.
There seem to be some concerns regarding the bill, in particular, the role and the function of the authorized officers, and also the ambit via which authorized officers are circumscribed. So in other words, who are authorized officers? There are other sections of the bill that attorneys felt, for example, they are of the view that personal data, the definition for personal data should be expanded to include facial and other data-like features. Also, members had concerns in relation to the ambit of the execution of the warrant and whether or not that section is overbroad, and it could lead to constitutional breaches, and whether or not it should not be more restrictive. So we would forward to the Attorney General chambers in short order what are the views of the members.
A dossier will be sent to the Attorney General with the concerns and recommendations made by the GBA. However, it must be noted, according to Sylvester, that in previous times, the GBA would receive a copy of the bill from the Office of the Attorney General to give their input. However, in this case, this was not done. Sylvester further explained why it is necessary to have a legal representative present.
There is the formation of whatever commission that should be had pursuant to the Act. We would recommend that there should always be a legal person on that. And also, these acts should have statutory rules and regulations. They're referred to as SRO. And even though the acts speak to regulations, there were no regulations that was passed or that form part of the Data Protection Act. And there are many acts many laws that is on the books that speak to regulations, and there are no regulations.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Host.
All right, and we're going to go a little bit over 10 o'clock here because I'm going to play for you now Mr. Ruggles Ferguson again. Yeah, I want you to hear Mr. Ruggles Ferguson. You see, they could focus on this person or that person or whatever. We're dealing with an issue here, and we want you all to have a clear understanding of the points that we are making in relation to it, because their full intention is to go into the Senate next week and to pass this without any further amendments to it. Because if they make any amendments at the Senate, it means it has to go back to the House of Representatives. All right, so they're not going to make any amendments, they're not going to make any changes to that bill at the Senate. Their intention is to pass it as is and to claim that they go come back later and fix whatever problems with it. No. Because once they pass it and once it's signed by the Governor General, it can be used against every single Grenadian. Not just me. Don't think this thing is just about me. It could be used against you too. Somebody could come and complain. You're working in a business place and somebody information leaked from the business place, they could claim it's you that went and say that, hey, that person passed and they buy this and that and the other, or they owe in 3 months overdue or whatever, and that information ends up in somebody's hand and they come and they say it's you. Next thing you know, police knocking at your door. You understand? So don't think it's just for people like me. No, it's for you too, employees in the private sector, not just the employees in the public sector. Even people who are self-employed, it's for anybody, all right, that could be affected by this bill. So let me play this one. As I said, we'll be going a little over 10 o'clock tonight. It's the last night for the week, so we'll take a few minutes after, all right? Nice. Let me play this one for you.
Warrant to enter and search. This is a controversial section. I know the Antigua Act, for whatever reason, does not have this provision. Warrant to enter and search. If a magistrate is satisfied by information on oath supplied by an authorized officer that there are reasonable grounds for suspecting that an offense under this act has been or is being committed, and the evidence of the commission of the offense is to be found on any premises specified by the authorized officer, the magistrate may issue a warrant authorizing the authorized officer, A, to enter the premises, B, to search the premises. Right? Now, the definition of authorized officer under the Act, this is not a police officer, by the way. It's not a police officer, you know, under the normal scheme of things. The police, who normally have a charge with the conduct of investigations, will go to the magistrate to conduct a search. In this case, an authorized officer means an officer under Section 44 who has been authorized in writing for the purposes of this section. And basically, the authorized officer can here be, under 44 says, the chief executive officer of the commission may delegate any power or function under this act to an authorized officer. So remember, the chief executive officer is the officer for the time being exercising the highest level of administrative function within a public body. And the chief executive officer or the information commission may delegate that power to an authorized officer who may enter premises to search that premises. Now, that in my respectful view, is certainly overreaching. The powers given is to inspect, examine, operate, and test any equipment found on the premises and which is used or intended to be used for the processing of personal data. So that involves computers, cell phones. You can inspect and seize documents or any material found on the premises and which may constitute evidence of the commission of an offense. Now, just to pause to say that from a constitutional standpoint, for example, the nature of computers and cell phones are as such that if warrants are given to search places, then and seize equipment. For example, if the cell phone is believed to be stolen, it's a legal instrument, then you may take it. But to search a cell phone, for example, to take a cell phone, basically be exposed to the inner privacy of an individual should require a special warrant to be issued and not the normal warrant. About 6 years ago, I brought a constitutional motion in Grenada with respect to that, which was successful but never appealed. This, however, seems to give broad powers to search and seize documents, inspect, examine, operate, and test equipment. Those are very broad and sweeping powers. Especially, it is given to individuals not who are skilled in investigation like the police, but to others, including civilians. Now, E, require any person on the premises to provide an explanation of any document or other material found on the premises. Now, what if the person refuses? You have a constitutional right to silence. I don't know how you will require a person to provide an explanation of a document or material, and especially in relation to F, to require any person on the premises to provide other information as may reasonably be required to determine whether the data user has committed an offense. So the question is whether or not these people, you may or may not answer questions that the police pose to you. So the question is, what is there a value or a consequence in doing so? And the commissioner or authorized officer, upon the authority of a warrant issued by a magistrate and accompanied by members of the police force, may at any time enter any premises for the purpose of discharging any functions or duties under this act or regulations. So the question under that section, which probably goes the furthest in affecting people's rights and opening doors for possible arbitrary searches and abuse, whether this section is too overbroad as formulated. In certain countries, in fact, that power is given to the High Court, a judge of the High Court, and not even a magistrate. But that a magistrate is a judicial officer, and what it would mean is that the magistrates cannot do this just out of the course of things, but must scrutinize every application.
Yes, folks, so I just wanted you to hear it again. And that was Mr. Ruggles Ferguson during the New National Party's activity last night, where we invited members from the Bar Association to give their views in relation to the bill, and we were able to ask questions about the different sections that we had concerns over and so on. And you've heard Mr. Ferguson there pointing out King's Counsel, yes, recently appointed King's Counsel, pointing out different aspects of that bill that are cause for concern. The same thing that we have been saying for the last how much weeks here. So folks, there is a cause to be concerned about this, and it's not just about me. Some people were feeling, oh, that's just about Shalana and them, so Shalana had to be careful. No, it's not just about me. It's about you. You might be working in company A, and people's financial information from that company get leaked, and they feel it's you. Sometimes it ain't even get leaked, you know. But they come and they claim it is leaked. And you end up getting in trouble. They say, well, you is the person they do business with. So how come their competitor know what they buy? And so, yeah. So you may find yourself in that problem. So we have to all be careful. It's not just about me. It's all of us. And you're hearing now from the Bar Association. So you've heard from Mr. Derek Sylvester. You've heard from Mr. Ruggles Ferguson. You've heard before from Dr. Francis Alexis. Yeah? You've imagine, you've even heard from George Worm. Yet Mr. Gerard Joseph and the Media Workers Association of Grenada remain silent on this issue. I don't know if they get mummitis here, right? No, there's a thing, mummitis. They get mum. They can't talk. They can't talk. They get mummitis. I don't know if that is what take place with them, but they have gotten silent. So they have nothing to say in relation to this. Is it that they have nothing to say or they can't talk? I don't know which one it is. But so far, they have said nothing in relation to this. I am yet to hear a forum that the unions have spoken about this. I think for us to wait until the Senate sitting is taking place, when there is the extremely high likelihood that this would be passed, to hear in the Senate from the union representative their views in relation to this bill, I think that would be a mistake on behalf of the workers' representative, Comrade Andre Lewis, I, Sheldon Scott, am calling on you, comrade, to ask for the withdrawal of this bill for consultation on behalf of the workers who will be affected by this bill. Comrade, you're already hearing about workers ending up in front of the Public Service Commission on a weekly basis now. You're hearing of the situation with people being demoted. You have the situation with Mr. Norman Gilbert, permanent secretary, but they're trying to demote him down to a lesser position. You've heard what happened with Mr. Tafawa Pierre, Deputy Commissioner of Police, demoted, not even to Assistant Commissioner of Police, down to Superintendent. And I would like to know from the Public Service Commission and the other organizations, what is the reasoning that has been used for demoting these individuals? What is the reasoning that's behind that? Mr. John Mitchell, I hear the comment for you too. Yeah? So we're hearing all these things. We're seeing all these things. So Comrade Andrew Lewis of the Technical and Allied Workers Union and, of course, the Trade Unions Council on behalf of the TUC, I'm asking you to come out and add your voice to the call. You are calling people name, I'm asking you to add your voice before the parliament, because at parliament is too late. So you need to make your call before parliament. Media Workers Association, we need to hear from you all before Wednesday. Don't just wait until Wednesday because you're looking to make a news story because you find fireworks in parliament. You want to make a story then. It's too late. It's too late then. You're hearing from the lawyers. You're hearing from Mr. Derek Sylvester and the Grenada Bar Association. You're hearing from Mr. Ruggles Ferguson. You're hearing from Dr. Francis Alexis, and you're still quiet. So it's easy to just take your rights then. This could never be the Media Association in any other country in the Caribbean. None. None of the other media associations. And I know them. I've met the leaders of some of those media associations. I've interacted with them. I chaired a regional meeting right here in Grenada. So I know these people personally. None of them would sit down there and allow what's happening here in Grenada to happen to them in their territory. Grenada has always been the shining light of resistance. Has always been the country that stood up. And at a time like this, when it's time for some of you to stand up, some of you sit down. And not even sit down, some of you lie down. That is what's going on right now. So, Comrade Lewis, I'm calling on you to come on out and speak out on behalf of the workers. This bill is going to be affecting workers both in the public and private sector, including the workers represented by your union. You can very well find yourself having to go before the Labour Commissioner and so on. I wonder who's the Labour Commissioner now. But finding yourself in front of there. Finding yourself there to represent workers who are affected by decisions made through this bill. Yeah? And again, I'm calling on the other union representatives, in particular the Public Worker Union representative, to come on out and speak out on behalf of the workers with this bill. So, folks, we're taking a few minutes again. I'll still take calls. Let me see. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Good night, my dear.
Yeah. It was the Keith Mitchell government that was in office and this thing going on. The Media Association would have been out there already on the NMP government. Right? But they lie still. Nobody not hearing anything about them. None of them, nobody not hearing anything about them. If it was the NMP government that was in office, you would have heard them jumping all over the street, all on the media. You hear? You would have been hearing them all over the place with the NMP government. Thank you.
All right, my dear. Yes, folks, so we still have a few minutes. We're going to take your calls. I still have a few minutes, so we'll be taking your calls. So, yeah, Brother Andrew Lewis, let me clear it. Brother Andrew Lewis, calling on you. Mr. Brian Grimes, I'm calling on you. Miss Daisy Hazard, I'm calling on you. And Daisy, I know you do easy. Daisy, I know you've been busy this week. I know you've been busy this week, sister. I know the Public Workers Union has been really busy this week. Because back and forth, workers being sent on administrative leave, all kind of weird things taking place in the public service Because you have some people that just believe that according to what political party you support, you have a right to work or you're supposed to stay dead and starve. That's their belief. So you have people within the public service now that maybe you went to an NP rally, but you didn't even put on a t-shirt because you're part of the public service. You maybe didn't even put on a t-shirt. Or you put on a green t-shirt, but it didn't have the party logo. You're allowed to do that. Yeah? And you went to a rally, and all of a sudden now you're finding yourself in problems because they're trying to fire you. Digging into documents as back as 20 years ago to try and get rid of some people from the public service. All you feel I don't know what's going on. And I hearing it from the Public Service Commission itself. I'm telling all you where I'm getting the information from. The Public Service Commission itself. I'm telling all you. All you digging in files some people think from. Imagine all these people nearly reach into the 1900s, you know. Digging up people files to try and find excuse to fire them and to send them home and all sorts of things. To demote them and different things. Simply because a minister get up and say, I can't work with this one or I can't work with that one, so we need to get rid of them. All you feel we don't know what's going on? So I know that Sister Daisy been busy. I know that Brother Brian Grimes been busy. But I'm saying we need to hear from you all. The public needs to hear from you all. Especially in relation to bills like this. Because it is being said out there that when the NNP was in office, we was hearing from all you. But now it seems as though you all are too quiet on issues like these. So we need to hear from you all in relation to this issue. Yeah, we have a caller online. Good night. Hello, good night, caller. Okay. Yes, folks. In fact, you know what? Let's take a wrap right about now. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so let me make sure I have everything in order here. Nice. So we're going to take a wrap on it right now. And we're going to focus on coming back on Monday with more information for you. We're looking out this weekend. We're waiting to hear from the TUC because this thing is going to directly affect workers. So we're waiting to hear from the TUC. We're waiting to hear from the PWU as a separate entity. Well, it's part of the TUC. So either we hear from the TUC speaking on behalf of everybody or we hear from the PWU. So we're waiting to hear from you all and we want to hear from MWAG, the Media Association of Grenada. Because regional bodies have issues with this bill. It's been sent to them and they're saying that they have issues with certain parts of it. They're worried. But it seems as though the local body's sleeping. Or maybe they're non-existent. But at the end of the day, they need to come out and say something. All was talking when they're talking about freedom of information. All was able to talk, they ain't it. Talk now. We want to hear you all. Folks, that's all the time we have for talking points for tonight and this week. Yes, we're still working on getting that Friday program started for you. Friday night forums. Don't worry, it's coming. We're telling you from now what it's going to be named, everything. The Friday night forums. It is coming. All right? Not right now, but it is coming. So that's all the time we have for talking points this week. It's been wonderful being here with you. And in everything you say and everything you do, we want you to do it safe and secure. Right? Because we want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. Let me make sure I get a proper song. Yeah. Let me make sure I get a proper song there to send you all out, man. Yeah, I want to get a proper song to send you all out tonight. Let me see. Which one you all want tonight, boy? Let me get a nice one for you all. Let me see. I don't know why the computer's sticking with me tonight, man. Come on, computer. Yeah, we have to do better than that. Hey, let me see this one here. Watch. All you remember this one? Let me play this one for all you, man. Yeah. We go touch it so.
For me, no, me can't sit down. From Palacor to Calvary, he took the walk for you and me. Then they nailed him to a tree. No, you say? We can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. We can't sit down. Grenada, can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. We can't sit down. Listen to me. So no matter what you say about me, no matter what you do to me, see I know I have the victory. So I can't sit down. He placed a fire down in my soul, and the Holy Ghost is in control. The blood of Jesus satisfies. I give me pass, let me testify. Grenada, can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Me can't sit down. No, me can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Me can't sit down. My God, can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Me can't sit down. I refuse. He's been good to me. I gotta testify. Put up your hands and give him praise. Put up your hands and Grenada, 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 Grenada. Somebody give him glory. I say no way. He's been too good to me. I gotta test. No matter what you say about me, no matter what you do to me, see I know I have the victory. So I can't sit down. He placed a fire down in my soul, and the Holy Ghost is in control. The blood of Jesus satisfies. Please give me pass, let me testify. Say me can't sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Me can't sit down. God bless you, Grenada. Put up your hands and give him praise. 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 He's been good. He's been good. Woke you up this morning. Kept you in your right mind. No, I can't sit down. I gotta testify. I make no apology. He's been good to me. Brought me from a mighty long way. Put my feet on rock to stay. I gotta testify, Grenada. I gotta testify, Grenada. I gotta God bless you, God bless you. I gotta go, I gotta go.
NDC can come back at all.
Not one seat for them.
We want progress and no more scandal.
Not one seat for them.
Hear what I tell all you. When you vote in election, they let the progress continue.
Not one seat for them.
We cannot take that chance.
Not one seat for them.
Green is being shown.